started back in 1984 right here in Phoenix, Arizona, the first ever AVP, and now a beautiful conclusion to the 2022 AVP season right here at the Footprint Center in Phoenix, Arizona. These are the championships, and we have already had one match close out, and we cannot wait to get to the next women's match just about to get underway. We've got Sarah Pavan, Muno facing off against Betsy Flint and Kelly Cheng. Hi everyone, I'm Cameron Irwin alongside Olympic gold medalist Rich Lamborn, and I gotta say, Rich, the shirt is a thing of beauty first and foremost.
Mainly because it has sleeves on?
Yes, yeah. That's very true. All right, well, this is a little bit of a single elimination format. However, you will be guaranteed 2 matches. I know it sounds a little bit confusing, but let's take a look at our 6 teams in the women's bracket, because these teams have been in these Gold Series finishes, and you already see the highlighted Cheng, Flint, Muno, Pavan. That's next up, the 3 versus the 6 seed. Kloth and Nuss just took home a victory. Kloth and Nuss at that number 4 seed. So who will face Cannon and Sponsel? That is the question we are about to find out. We've got the 3rd member, Mark Sherman, down on the sand. Take it away, Mark.
We are all set. What's up there? You're just joining us from home. Where were you for the last match? You already missed one. It's time for match number 2. These are championships. This is Phoenix, ladies and gentlemen. It's time to send another team to the semifinals. So let's meet the teams. Now, this first team, they'll be playing in their first ever event together. It's like, hey, why not? You want to play? You want to play? I'm ready to go. Are you ready to go? Let's do this. Want to get out there? You want to practice a little bit? You want to do this? Yeah. Yes. She is so ready, ladies and gentlemen. This first player out of sunny South Bay, out of Hermosa Beach, California, 2-time national champion out of UCLA. She is the player you're going to love to love. Let me hear it for Muno. And what a pickup for Zana. This player originally out of Canada, now lives in Hermosa Beach, California. She's got 7 gold medals on the international tour, ladies and gentlemen. She is a 2-time Olympian, 3-time best flopper in the world. She is Sarah Pavan. And their opponent, this first player, she has got 2 wins on the AVP Tour, including earlier this year in New Orleans. Let's go indeed. I saw you walking into the stadium today, and you look absolutely locked in. Ladies and gentlemen, a multiple-time national champion out of the University of Southern California, Kelly Cheng. And her partner, ladies and gentlemen, sure, she played her college ball at Loyola Marymount University. Sure, she's won 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 AVP titles, but she got it all started at Desert Vista High School right here in Phoenix, Arizona. Let me hear a loud crowd for Betsy Flint.
Well, and you saw the wry smile right there from Betsy Flint as the crowd, this is her hometown crowd, is lighting up for her. It's been a point this season in 2022 that this team, well, sometimes it seems like everyone's cheering against them, but they are so good in Cheng and Flint. I say that only because Betsy and Kelly had mentioned that in an article this past week, that they are very excited to have the fans here in Phoenix behind them.
I like it, and the fans are out in force already.
Without a doubt. First ball for Muno and Pavan. This is a new partnership between the two. Sarah Pavan substituting in for Brandy Wilkerson, who Muno was able to qualify with. Brandy Wilkerson now off, getting ready to play in Paris in an upcoming FIVB event. Zana Muno out of UCLA. 2-time national champion.
Zana was unable to get Sarah to buy into the tennis skirt outfit, it looks like.
No, not so much. There's a look at Kelly Cheng. A couple national championships to her name as well. The USC Trojan playing alongside the LMU product in Betsy Flint. This team very dynamic in their approach, both very physical athletes. Rich, before we jumped into this match, and even the last match, we talked so much about how this sand is a little bit different than what these athletes play on if they're on a natural beach. There's a jump and a good block from Kelly Cheng.
Yeah, I don't know exactly how to describe it real well. The word the players use a lot is jumpy sand, and I don't know what makes it jumpy versus not as jumpy. This certainly is jumpy. I don't know if it's the grain or whatever. It's a wonderful volleyball court, obviously really unique and cool surroundings, but there is the ability to get out of the sand pretty well for all the players.
Well, and we talk about it. It should be an electrifying thing, right? Because it means you're going to see the athletes flying higher, maybe taking more swings than what they traditionally might. Big time serves. So it's going to make for an amazing product out on the sand.
Yeah, certainly. And as is always the case in different kind of ways, I suppose, the athletes that make the adjustment the quickest are the ones that are going to be successful in this tournament, I think, because it is an adjustment. If you shoot the ball a lot, that may not be conducive to these kind of conditions as much. I think you do need to be more physical. You do need to take advantage of these conditions, and the athletes that are able to get involved in that a little bit quicker and a little bit easier are going to be the ones that succeed out here. Ooh.
That's a cagey shot right there. Kelly Cheng just poking that short to the line, 6-1 on the side switch.
Yeah, no matter the conditions, Kelly Cheng's got the knuckle pokey on lockdown. Kind of interesting to see nobody with sunglasses on, right? You get used to that sort of beach volleyball uniform of like a visor for the ladies a lot of times, a hat for the guys, and certainly the Oakleys or whatever, you know, manufacturer you go with in the sunglasses.
This is the most dressed crowd I've ever seen on the AVP Tour. Here's a look at Betsy Flint with the extended offense. Cheng gets the recovery, and it falls just a little bit too quick for her. But there's the sound of Phoenix. This place is packed.
It really is, yeah. I mean, this is a beautiful,
so cool.
Beautiful center. I think this is the first time I've been in here, but it's a pretty standard, I think, NBA arena. It's huge. And they did such a wonderful job setting this up, and it's nice to see the fans out in full force supporting.
Ooh, and that's a wicked serve. Sarah Pavan, the All-American out of Nebraska, competes for Team Canada. She's a southpaw, so she'll play that right side.
That play right there is kind of indicative of one of the biggest adjustments I think that the athletes are going to have to make, and that's a set that's a little less than perfect. In jumpier sand, athletes can still swing away at that. And we talk a lot about, especially in the women's game, the pull defense being such a big part of it. And if you get used to pulling on balls that are off, if that's kind of your game plan and people are now taking huge cuts at that, it's going to be an adjustment.
Well, and it's hard. You have all these like neural pathways, right? That these quick reads that you spend so much time developing in the game of beach volleyball, where you're making plays without really even thinking about it. And all of those are going to be tested in regards to some of those reads.
Yeah. I'm going to go Google neural real quick, and then I'm going to get back to you. And I think I agree with you.
8-3 now, Cheng and Flint still on top. We talked about how it's a little bit of a single elimination tournament. So all these teams, though, are guaranteed at least 2 matches. Sounds counterintuitive. However, you will play for that 5th or 6th spot if you take a loss in the first round. Your 1 and 2 seeds get an automatic bye and are awaiting the winners from the first round.
Pavan is cracking that serve already early here.
That's what I'm talking about. We saw it from Taryn Cloth, too. She was unleashing on her serve. Betsy Flint, known to be one of the best servers on tour. She goes with that traditional jump float serve. That thing just falling right there on Zana Muno. Zana Muno, a little bit the queen of having multiple partners and knowing how to play well with so many different people.
She's kind of a fashion plate too, right? We talked about the tennis skirt. She's not afraid to mix it up stylistically.
Nope, not at all. Rich laughing because our producer Ann just got jokes saying He's not scared to mix up his fashion choices either.
Yeah. What length of sleeves? That's about as deep as I get.
Nice push set there. Wow, well placed from Kelly Cheng, the Olympian. Competed back in Tokyo alongside Sarah Sponsel. And after Tokyo, she and Sarah decided to go different directions. Sarah Sponsel now playing alongside Therese Cannon. They are your 2 seed here as she finds the ace, a weapon she's had since she was at USC. She uses a top spin jump serve, but also at times will go a little bit of that hybrid serve.
Yeah, and that's kind of against her normal arm swing tendency, right? She's a little bit more across the body, so tucking that into Zana's corner. And there again, she does it. Very nice upgrade in her game.
Quick set, Betsy in there. That's not easy to do. Go high line winner over the top of Sarah Pavan.
Not at all. Not at all.
So 12-5, Sarah Pavan and Zana Muno are going to take a timeout here. Again, Pavan and Muno playing together for the first time. Pavan being a substitution in for Brandy Wilkerson. As you take a look at Kelly Cheng and her numbers through this season, she's 3rd in kills on tour. First in terms of hitting efficiency, 485. That's a number right there. Earning nearly 2 blocks per set and 1.9 aces. That's tied for second. This is a team that's got a couple international wins under their belts as well. Jordan Cheng, their coach and husband to Kelly Cheng, getting married this past season. There's a look at their numbers together. They won back in New Orleans. There's only been 1 2-time winner on the women's side in 2022. That, of course, is Taryn Cloth and Kristen Nuss, who are just out on the sand. This team looking to do what they have done, find 2 titles in 2022. Wouldn't they like to finish it off with the championships, though?
I'd like to go back to her hitting efficiency because we talk a lot about her on-2 game. So to me, having an efficiency that's so high means that her decision-making is also extremely good.
Speaking of decision-making, the decision to swing right there from Muno, she just ripped that ball down the line. But yes, to your point, Kelly Cheng utilizing that option game so much, going on 2.
Now, feasting down the line, always a good decision game.
Here's the jump topspin serve you're talking about from Pavan. Catches Flint just high on the chest. Not enough on that. She's got to give her partner a shot, and house. Kelly Cheng just saying no good to Zana Muno.
Yeah, that's a great pickup from Zana. I like the aggression in transition, but that set looked like it was a little bit tight, and Kelly just smothered it. We get a look at it here.
And there's Sarah Pavan. She just unloads on a ball. How much can she get involved offensively, I think is going to be a good question. Can Zana get the ball up there to her southpaw, that left hand, get that option working for them? See if they start to settle in here a little bit. Again, remember, this is their first time playing together, so they've got a little bit to figure out.
They do. Luckily for them, there's a little bit of consistency in that Brandy Wilkerson, Zana's normal partner, is a left-hander.
Great point.
She's also Canadian, so the language barrier's not there.
Oh, you smart aleck.
Yeah, but I mean, you know, like the lefty on the right side is a kind of point of consistency that hopefully they can use to their advantage as this match progresses.
No, and that's a great point because Brandy does use that option. And I remember, you think back to the times that they've played alongside one another. You even just saw Brandy playing alongside Melissa Humana Paredes, who made the final back in Chicago, taking the 3-set loss. To Taryn Cloth and Kristen Nuss. Zana Muno has played alongside Brandy Wilkerson this season for the majority of 2022. She also played alongside Lauren Fendrick back in Hermosa. She finished with a couple 5ths, whether that was in New Orleans, Hermosa, Fort Lauderdale. She finished 3rd in Atlanta with Brandy, 3rd in Manhattan, so they continued to level up. Now playing for the first time alongside Sarah Pavan, who, by the way, is a world champ. was an Olympic gold medal hopeful alongside Melissa Humana-Paredes. She's a two-time Olympian back in 2016 as well as 2020. She made the Olympics in 2020 and having won the World Championships that year. And then the Olympics got pushed and didn't find the medal that she was hoping for. But nonetheless, still going strong here on the AVP Tour, looking to find her way to 2024 in Paris. Question will be, with who?
That is a good question. An interesting time to split from your partner, but I guess right before the qualification window opens up, if you're going to make a move, now would be the time to do it.
Ooh, the finger. Oh, this is my favorite. This is my favorite version of Sarah Pavan right here. Is when she starts getting a little edgy, right? Like she starts giving you a play here, a play there, and she's pointing to the line on the ace, or she's staring you down, the stuff and stare. Just one of the great maneuvers from Sarah Pavan.
The stuff and stare, I like that.
The stuff and stare.
You can trademark that.
I think Mark Sherman might have something to say about it.
I heard you say it first, so I'm going to back you up.
Every time he uses it, I need $1. And just like that, look at this, 10-14, Pavan and Muno starting to become that much more deadly.
Yeah, obviously those aces are free points, and you want to take as many of those as you can, but they're also momentum kickstarters, right?
They are, without a doubt. That and blocks, right? Those are the two big elements you always revert back to in terms of momentum reversals. Unless, of course, you're a defensive-minded team like your guys.
Well, you feel like you get a point and change with them, right? Just because it weighs on the psyche a little bit of the other team sometimes.
Looks like they've figured out their pass and set a little bit, too. That was a really nice ball in terms of perfectly in rhythm for Zana Muno off that set.
Yeah, a little bit lower, a little bit quicker tempo, right? Just got her, starts with the great pass like you mentioned, and then she's right into her rhythm a lot quicker, gives the defense a little bit less time to set up. Just wide. Yeah, a couple successive service errors, you know, like we talk about kickstarting momentum, but you have to also help it out a little bit, right? You got to keep it going. You got to stoke that fire.
Kelly Cheng, 1,977, make it 87 feet traveled. Her highest jump now on screen, 26.7 inches. Connects on, bringing you all of those numbers, and it's going to be interesting at the end of the year to be able to go back through the numerous Excel spreadsheets just to see from event to event, determine it on performance and where everyone finished out. It's going to be really interesting to see what those numbers in terms of highest jump and furthest distance traveled are going to compare.
I feel like that's a little bit higher than we're accustomed to seeing from her. So that kind of speaks to the jumpy nature of the sand that we were talking about a little bit earlier.
Short line, and Zana Muno, though, is in the net. So the ball and point reversed the opposite direction, 18-12 now.
It's unfortunate. I love that little slither line shot. Kind of sneaks underneath the block. that's what we call it.
Slither line.
Yeah, because you got the blocker going, you snake, right?
I'm going to start calling you Draco.
Yeah, it's good to, I mean, the other way we refer to it a lot is just changing tempo of your shots, right? Rather than just the high line shot all the time, having that slap going underneath, mixing up depths, all that kind of stuff to have variety in your offense.
Betsy Flint a little frustrated there off that pass.
I think we're going to see that more than we're accustomed to seeing. That too on the AVP, where float serves generate direct aces like that. It just falls off the table, like whether it's kind of the swirling nature of the air conditioning in this building or whatever, the ball travels a little bit differently, and it takes some time to get used to.
Stuff and stare, Sarah Pavan. Rich, you asked for it. Take a look. The stuff and stare, Sarah. with a big press. You see it right there? You liked it. I know you did.
That was a little stuff and shout and stare, I think, right?
Just add one more S. Just a 3-point game now, forcing a timeout. Pavan Muno trailing by 3. But it seems like they know the answers, right? It's coming in terms of the service pressure, and now all of a sudden, maybe some block points. So 3 points of separation here in set number 1. But in case you want to jump in on some of the fun, well, here's your shot. It's time for you to make your Phoenix Championships predictions on Bally Play's AVP Predictor game and take your shot to win 2 official AVP game balls signed by the 2022 AVP champs. Who will it be? Well, you'll find out come tomorrow. But of course, you can just scan the QR code, or you can go to ballyplay.com/AVP to make your winning predictions. If you predict correctly, you win 2 official AVP beach volleyballs signed by the champs. Again, time to get those picks in right now. Just scan that QR code.
A nice little knuckle pokey on 2 there from Kelly Cheng to stop the bleeding, so to speak. Still a pretty commanding lead at 4 points, right? Just inches away from the finish line here in set number 1. It does feel like there's a little bit of a change in momentum in this match, though, right? If Kelly and Betsy aren't a little bit careful, set 2 could be a wildly different story.
Yeah, without a doubt, and I still feel like we really haven't seen that option play utilized by Sarah Pavan. Could that be the difference maker? Right now, their service pressure has been paying dividends. And nearly another. That ball just long. Gets a little bit underneath that one. 4-time All-American. I mentioned she was an All-American, but I think it's important to note that that was a 4-time All-American, Sarah Pavan. Bev Oden, Carrie Walsh, and Logan Tom, the only others to do so. Set point for Flint and Cheng. Oh, blocked and off her head. That counts as good. From her knees, she's got to earn this one. And there it is. Finding plays off the top of her head. Way to get your head in the games on him, you know?
There you go. Yeah, all those little things, you know, sometimes can add up to momentum that you can carry forward for your team.
So another set point for Flint and Cheng. Flint from 5 feet off. What an incredible cut right there from Betsy Flint, just closing things out, shutting the doors. 21-17. Flint and Cheng have the crowd behind him, and they also have set number 1. Pavan and Muno, though, look like they figured a few things out. Let's see if they can figure out how to win set number 2. The AVP is brought to you by Sky Vodka, made with water enriched by Pacific minerals for a fresher tasting vodka and soda. By Waste Management, from recycling to renewable energy, we're working hard for a sustainable tomorrow. By Monster Hydro, hard-charging hydration. And by Terramana Small Batch Tequila. Bring on the mana.
Sack up, and then sack back. Got that? Figure it out. However it needs to be done. Chris, Paul, Josh, in 3, 2,
just a rap. Share a little love, share a little love. Learn to respect one another. You could find a way to make another day brighter now that we got each other.
At Corner Bakery, we're making your choice simple with Choose 2 options every day. Choose 2 of your favorites and turn a simple lunch into a perfectly paired meal. And we're not talking about a few Choose 2 options. Pair up any sandwich or panini, any cafe fresh salad or warm simmering soup, or any pan sauteed pasta. So many kitchen crafted options, so little time. Your perfect Choose 2 combination is waiting at the Corner Bakery.
Welcome back inside the Footprint Center here for the Phoenix Championships. Take a look at your Set 1 stats. Cameron Irwin alongside Rich Lamborn, 21-17. Flint and Cheng taking set number 1, and this place is packed. And they're already underway. Sarah Pavan tosses one up, and Zana Muno looking for their little gooseneck. This is one way to start the second set. Point to Pavan and Muno. A long one.
And you were wondering if Pavan and Muno were going to get involved in the option plays at all. I don't know if anybody used all 3 contacts in that rally on either side.
Just finding their way, this new duo, and Muno and Pavan.
That was one of the more interesting kind of stat lines that we saw, right? Not a ton separating either of those teams. It seemed like a pretty convincing victory at 21-17 for Cheng and Flint. And probably the only difference is a couple errors on the side of Pavan and Muno, right? So if they clean that up, we should be in for quite a match here.
From out of the middle. Flint just off a right side, but what a snag. Zana Muno. A little bit inside for the set, and carving is Betsy Flint right there.
Such a good shot. You know, we saw her end the first set from that exact same position, and she just chopped off the cut shot. Really sharp. So the ability to have both directions with that, really, really impressive. And as you mentioned earlier, to go up and over big Sarah Pavan at the net, also very impressive.
We just saw the missed serve there, but it was out the middle of the court. Kelly Cheng, when I spoke to her earlier, she said, you know, when you're facing a new team, sometimes you just got to test that middle in terms of the service pressure, figure out who wants to take that ball, force the over communication. So see if they can get them to fight over that middle serve. That was part of it. They also talked about trying to collect as much data as they could in terms of this new duo in those first 10 points or so. Take the assessment and then make an adjustment. What's interesting, I mean, this team continues to develop through set 1 and now into set 2. They're going to have to continue that process of assessing and adjusting. Sponsel and Canyon awaiting the winner of this one. That'll be at 11 a.m. Pacific time tomorrow.
Nice little put away with a line shot of her own, Zana Muno over the top there. Yeah, I mean, Kelly and Betsy, very data-driven team starting at the top, right, with their coach, Jordan Cheng. They are very analytical, to say the very least. So no doubt they're doing all those, you know, you see that meme all the time with Zach Galifianakis' face and all the math equations. That's kind of how I picture them as a beach volleyball squad.
Both Cheng and Flynn going to walk over the line, double check it.
I saw that out from up here, Cam.
Betsy Flint has her family in tow. Saw little Cora hanging out. It's been fun to watch Betsy in motherhood. Does a great job sharing all those special moments on social media. Baby Cora is pretty darn adorable. They actually had a sponsor who you see repping on the front of their swimsuits right now. That's Veya. They actually flew them out on a jet here to Phoenix. It's like, can I fit in the suitcase, guys? Come on.
What is that, a 45-minute flight?
It's pretty impressive.
I mean, flying private, but I would love to enjoy it longer than 45 minutes.
Hey, I'm going to take it when I can get it right there, even if it is just 45 minutes.
Fair point.
They've talked so much about how much Veya has supported them. They've also said that they've got a couple local sponsors that have helped them out. Sanderson Ford, as well as TMD Wealth Management. And then, of course, Veya is the resort and spa in Newport Beach, California. He's been supporting them through their entire journey.
Championship facials, no doubt, on the menu. There's a look at the athleticism and the physicality that you can generate out of this jumpy sand. Sarah going from well off the net, hard up the middle.
Zana Muno finds the middle in the left shoulder of Betsy Flint. What a set, though. Wow, Kelly Cheng. I would also imagine, though, because I think back to when I was playing indoor volleyball, and I actually liked, you always had to kind of figure out stadiums or arenas, right, where your points of reference were. But in terms of setting location, I feel like it actually can be really helpful playing inside because you have so many more points of reference in terms of knowing where you're at versus looking up at a blue sky.
Yeah, I wouldn't disagree with you, certainly, on that. And we talked about the air conditioning swirling just a little bit, but it's not blowing the ball all over the place. And so you can really track it a lot easier and dial into those points of reference a little bit easier, I think, to your point.
7-6 now, Pavan and Muno with the 1-point advantage. Quick recovery for Pavan. Oh, she gets one just off her left shoulder as well as the side of her face. We talked about it being jumper sand. Well, Pavan's got her face above the net. Kelly Cheng doing a nice job just making sure she's okay right there on the side switch. Here's a look at it. Ooh. Oh, that was right off the noggin.
That's
Phil
You hope that doesn't
Dahlhauser-esque.
blacken the eye and give her husband Adam some explaining to do when they go out in public.
That's a bad joke.
That's not something you see a ton in the women's game. You see it with some regularity in the men's game, right? I've seen Phil take 20 of those in the last couple years. But that's, again, just a testament to how high up over the net Sarah Pavan is.
Oh, man. That was a whip of an arm. Oh, the poke and stare. That doesn't have the same ring to it, does it?
Poke and peer? Yeah, but, the one thing for sure is taking a ball right off your left eye will fire you up a little bit, right? I mean, we know Sarah's a fiery, kind of edgy player at times, and so she's looking for little motivational tools like that.
Well, and that's going to help right there. Kelly Cheng just took an absolute rip at that ball, and Zana Muno said thank you very much and transitions that back out. Take a look at this one. The option just unleashed. But look at that set. And there's House of Slytherin.
For the Harry Potter fans out there, right?
Whatever you say, Draco. Oh, Kelly Cheng. There's a few big swings, and she just did the Steph Curry. She hit that ball and just turned around and started walking to the back line. The walk-off.
I like that we're seeing that, though. Anytime somebody gets stopped or has something go against them, they come back with even more aggression, right? I love those types of responses.
Man, these women are just leveling up their play as well as the emotional output, and I'm loving every second of it. She got a piece of that one.
Yeah, as we expected, Sarah and Zana really have stepped up their game here and kind of dialed in a few things. Ooh. Just as we say that one falls right off the table, though. Betsy Flint, as you mentioned earlier, one of the better servers on the women's side of the game, and she just drops that one in perfectly.
Named the AVP best server back in 2019. She was also the AVP newcomer of the year back in 2015. That is up and over the block right there, Rich.
Yeah, it's interesting to me that they're going after Sarah a little bit, right? Because most people kind of fear that swing right there a little bit.
Well, that's a good point. They haven't utilized the option as much as we head now into the technical timeout. We've seen it a few more times, but speaking of things to take a look back on, let's take a look back here on the Wilson play of the day. This is back in set number 1. And yeah, Zana Muno, she's all over that. What a heads-up play. How many more head puns can I come up with? Again, that's the Wilson volleyball play of the day. They didn't pick up set number 1, but they did pick up that point.
Yeah, great awareness all the way around, right? Because it just kind of rattled off Zana's head, but Sarah Pavan ready to set that ball up, and Zana regains her bearing, keeps it in play, and they end up winning that point. That was exciting all the way around. And they're in pretty good position here.
Yeah,
a much more consistent ball, in set number 2.
No, without a doubt. It's, you know, that 1-point differential right now into the technical timeout. Again, we played 2 out of 3 sets. That third one might go to 15, and I love that. This feels like an NBA game, right? Like you gotta love the fact that as you go through and pan through the crowd, they're seeing themselves up on the jumbotron above and just loving it. You're getting all the fun celebrations from the fans here as well in Phoenix. I seriously just love how packed. I can't stop saying it. It's really quite impressive. French fries on the board now.
Yeah, it is awesome to see just, you know, the sort of elite professional level of everything in here. The huge jumbotron, all the electronic signage that goes all the way around. You walk into the front of the Footprint Center and you see 20-foot tall Casey Patterson on the sign and Taryn Cloth, right? You know, it's really awesome. And it's, you know, what these athletes and what the AVP Tour deserve, I think.
Yeah, that's what these athletes live for right now. 12-11. Flint and Cheng on top. And to your point about the service pressure, you could just see right there, Zana Muno, that ball's on her platform, but it's just almost that little hesitation or that last second move by the ball throws her off and gets the ace for Kelly Cheng.
Yeah, it just dances that little extra, I don't know, uncomfortable bit, or, you know, something that the players are a little bit unaccustomed to, which seems weird because, you know, you play in the elements, you play outdoors and there's wind and so forth, but there's a bit of an unpredictable nature to it in here, and I think that's, you know, just here and there throws you off just enough.
So 13-11 in another timeout. Let's take a look at what we have coming up next, and that's going to be the fellas. They're going to take over the sand here in the Footprint Center. Here's a look at your bracket. Your 6 teams in action here at the championships. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. We got Lottman, Partain versus Benish and Patterson. We also have Crabb and Sander versus Buttinger and Field. That will close out our night. and get us into tomorrow. And again, if you're just joining us, Andy Benish is filling in as a medical substitution for Phil Dahlhauser, who originally qualified in alongside Casey Patterson. We're going to be celebrating Casey Patterson all weekend long, as this could be his potential last AVP tournament in his incredible career.
I celebrate Casey Patterson daily, but the rest of us are joining in this weekend.
So if you've got a special note or a fun message, or maybe one of your favorite memories as you see the hitting efficiencies up on the screen from watching the great Casey Patterson, find him on Instagram. Shoot him a nice note this weekend. He deserves it. As there's a block from Kelly Cheng.
Yeah, what a great move right there. You can see her all the way in the angle and just last second jumps to that line, gets the swat. Really, really nice look at it here. Yeah, good handwork.
Also, while you're at it, you should go give Nick Lucena also some love as well, as he's closed out his AVP career this year. What a stab, Betsy Flint. Betsy in transition. And I just love the way she competes. So dialed in. You can just see how laser focused she is. Efficient in her movements right there. She gets that first scoop. Gets back into her defensive stance, waits, and then take a look at this. Perfect placement, quick, efficient footwork, and great touch on the ball.
And that's now 5 in a row for them since the technical, right? Sarah stops the bleeding with the option play there, but yeah, that last play really just a masterclass in defensive timing, I think, from Betsy Flint.
You know, so often we talk about how this duo is fire and ice, right? But in their own right, both fire and ice are just as deadly, and they both are in that regard.
Ooh.
That is a nasty block. That was a little tight.
Covering up her face very well that time and covering up everything Betsy had to offer as well. Great block there from Sarah Pavan. Yeah. Again, really nice timing there. Even as tall as she is, she got some good depth and really exploded into that angle late. Ooh. Sorry. I know
right,
I'm not supposed to react like that.
Mr. Sound Effects. It's okay, I do it all the time.
Yeah, that was uncharacteristic for Kelly. She's got phenomenal hands, but that one came out a little squirrely.
Now just a 1-point game, 14-15. They go aggressive to the sideline of Flint. Out of the middle, but it's tight. And wow, over the block and over the down defense. It's 15-all. DJ Rouchet is having a little bit too much fun with the sound effects here in the Footprint Center. That one made my seat rattle.
Yeah, that bomb drop sound effect has a little extra bass in here, doesn't it?
It's a little different than out at the Manhattan Beach Pier, that's for sure. There's a look at your set 2 stats. Flint, Cheng, Pavan, and Muno 15 all, as we are now in another timeout. Rich, what are you seeing? Because it's nearly identical.
Yeah, it's interesting because you see more digs and you see a couple more aces on the side of Cheng and Flint. But this has been a game of runs since the technical timeout, right? We saw Betsy and Kelly run 5 in a row, and now Sarah and Zana answered back, and here we are level. So it's, you know, I mean, this is kind of the critical part of the sets that we always talk about, right? Who plays best in this latter third of the set? It doesn't really matter what those statistics say up until this point. Once you find yourself here, can you execute and close?
That's a great question. Who is going to be able to execute and close here in set number 2 if Flint and Cheng figure out exactly what they did in set number 1? Well, they could be walking away with the victory and into the semifinal tomorrow. The loser, well, we will get a chance to see them yet again. However, we'll be playing for that 5th versus 6th spot. We will close out positions 1 through 6 here in Phoenix.
Ooh. That was a hammer. Yeah, I really like that's a couple times in a row now that Betsy They didn't side out. She has the control and the wherewithal to throw that pass up a little higher for her partner to have that option to absolutely detonate.
Muno so good off that 1 foot. We see her do it so often. She's up there on the block. Pavan on the backcourt. And now they're back to regular defense. No way. Betsy Flint, that line is still bouncing.
Found the suspended part of the line right there. Nice precision from Betsy. A little defense in the backcourt from Sarah Pavan in the middle of that play.
Yeah, and the touch off the block. Muno up there. Incredibly athletic as Muno.
Yeah, that wasn't the slither variety, but kind of a teardrop line short, right? Because Betsy was leaning that way. But a good change in depth from Zana gets her the kill.
6 kills, 2 errors, and 5 digs in just set number 2. Quick pass. Kelly Cheng. Wow, and was she so physical. You saw it in those arms right there on that big double arm pump. She almost kind of goes a little bit of a roundhouse with hers all the way around.
Well, uppercut, Mike Tyson.
10 kills, 471. She probably like that reference.
Double uppercut.
A little bit of a higher set from off the net. They get Kelly Cheng to pull, but a one-hand stab for Flint.
I mean, that is such a classy defensive play from Betsy, start to finish there. The full layout left hand. That's what you got to do as a defender, right? If you're moving left, you got to go with your left. We see it right here. Not only lays out, controls it perfectly, and then is off the net, kind of darts it low to sort of neutralize the height of Sarah Pavan on that block. Gets the kill. Wonderful job.
Betsy Flint, 6 titles in her AVP career. Looking for her 7th here in Phoenix as another ball. And again, she goes Steph Curry. I don't even think she landed before she turned around to yell at the crowd. She just did a 180 midair after detonating on that ball. Are you serious? Kelly Cheng.
And it was a great, she pulled and Zana dropped it short, and she was able to cut off her pull and crash dig that ball. And then you mentioned the detonation.
This is match point for Flint and Cheng. Oh, you gotta love the hustle, and it stays in. Open net, and there's the finisher. Flint and Cheng take home the victory, 21-17, 21-16.
It was a seesaw battle, wasn't it, from the technical? And Kelly and Betsy were on the right side of that seesaw at the very end there. They really closed with authority.
Well, it's like they found an extra body to put on the end of their seesaw because it was pretty emphatic at the end there. Some big-time swings from Kelly Cheng. Just unleashing. Here's a look at match ball. You got to love this chase right here from Sarah Pavan, giving it everything she had. And then the option from her offside, too. That's tough to bring that ball back to the line.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's kind of what you would expect on paper, a team that's so has so many reps together, such as Betsy and Kelly, facing a team that's playing their first tournament together. You would expect the experience to win out there, and it certainly did here once Betsy and Kelly found their rhythm late in that second set.
Well, you saw it on screen who they will now face. It's going to be the former partners facing off. So Kelly Cheng and Betsy Flint will face off against Therese Cannon and Sarah Sponsel come tomorrow. Here are your final match stats for the 3 versus 6. We've got the fellas out on the sand next.
Up against Casey Patterson.
Huh? Thank you.
No.
Thank you, everyone.